Hello. Hi. Hi, Dr. Mogadam. How are you?
Well, how are you, Jeremy?
I'm great. It is so nice to see you. I haven't seen you. You're celebrating your same 3 years as me. We started at the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
We're muted. I'm not muted, but I still am.
Welcome to Voice of South Pacific broadcast. Today is March 24th, 2022. We're so grateful we're going to have the Providence Elderplace being a part of our broadcast today to share great information with our Pacific Islanders community, how to help the elderly to stay home comfortably and stay healthy. Ko tau programa ko ia I ahoni. Ko e tau programa ni pea moile o Pacific South o kuatea pe mesia to Washington, Amerika. Ko ahua whai ni o maasi o wafi wowa. Pe ko ahto prelul fokeni Amerikani. Ko tau programa make he ko ia tau kau whataha pe mo toke tā pe kei ki ngatai ko i whaki pa mo e toko taha ni ko Jeremy. Ke ne whai mana whamatalai ai mahu inga ko ia o polo kalama ko ini pe ku ofa pe te mo kau whataha mo ki mautolu vahe atu ka pau ko kei loto pea mo vahe atu ki he kau whanongo ko toa pe ke lava ke nau tokoni ki o tau ka inga. He ko inga whoki for us as the Tongan and also the Pacific Islanders, we take care of our family, we take care of each other. And we're obligated to take care of our loved ones, especially the elderly. So this program here, it is a very special program that we invite them to come to our broadcast to share how you can help and continue on to help and make a difference in the elderly's lives. Ko ia ka program kai aho ni tau ka whataha my Providence Elderplace ko nuku toko lahi leva ai kainga ko nau kau leva ki he programa ko ni ke tokoni ke kau tōrekereka ke nau nofo pe I api o malolo lele pe kiai. Welcome, Jeremy, to our Voice of South Pacific broadcast, which is a Pacific Islanders program to help our people to share resourceful information and how to help them.
Hi, Sylvia. How are you? It is so nice to be with you again, my friend, the Queen of the South Pacific. I haven't seen you in a couple of months. I am so happy to be back on this broadcast again. I just want to say before you ask me questions about how and why PACE is a good fit for some of the Pacific Islander elders, I just want to give you a public shout out for doing this venture with us, for what you do for your community, for how you stand up and advocate for your community. And I got to tell you that since the pandemic has started, the word community has a really much different meaning to me now. It's just so important. It's to me a virtue like with love or faith or gratitude. And I just want to thank you and thank Dr. Mogadam for doing this today, because we're making community on this radio show. And that's really wonderful. And I just want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you for everything you do.
Welcome, Jeremy. Please, Jeremy, after you speak, I will have to say something in our native language so that the people can have a little bit more
Sure.
understanding and they can have the concept and comprehend the information that you and the doctor sharing today. Okay, once again, Jeremy, please introduce yourself and let us know what is the most beneficial part that why the people would like to go to Providence Elderplace.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's a great question. My name is Jeremy Edmonds. I'm the outreach and marketing liaison for the PACE program in Washington State. And that means I do a lot of education and outreach and bringing information to communities like yours so that people can understand that this wonderful medical program is accessible to them. Do you want to translate that and then I'll answer your question?
Yes. Aya ko e ku whakawhi ko ia I ahoni ko ku kau whakawhi whalanglang pe ko kau special guest ko ia ki polo kalama ko Jeremy ko e taha ia o e kau ngāwe ko ia ki Providence Elderplace ko nau ngāwe ko I hono tūwhaki ai ngahi o ngongo lelei ko ni o whekau aki mo polo kalama ko ni e tokoni ki he kainga tonga pe he whoki ki a tō taha pe pea kau katoa whoki ai me ka kai Pasifiki, e ko inga ko e tau nofo whakamatakari, o tau te kia pe o tau kau matu o tua, o kai ki tau awe ki nau tolu ki ha, whare vai vai o tuku ai, ka ku tau toka ngā I pe ki nau tolu, pea ko e tau mua ia o e polo kalampa ni tene toka hanga whai ki kia. Okay, thank you so much, Jeremy. Go ahead.
Sure. And your question was a very what is a great reason that someone should join Elderplace? And I think the best reason I can give is that we provide full, comprehensive, coordinated, long-term and major medical care with the goal of keeping an elder who needs our support stabilized and living in the community where they want to live. Our goal is to keep elders out of nursing homes by providing this amazing program of benefits that supports the participant and their families to age in place, to age with your community. That's the philosophy, keeping people at home with PACE as opposed to going into a nursing home or a medically assisted community like a skilled nursing facility.
Hange ko ia na ne whakamatala I atu e Jeremy, Aya ko tō tahinu ne hange ha officer whetu utaki ki he kautaha ko e Providence Elderplace. Nā ne pehe, ko e tau mua ko ia e Providence Elderplace, ko e keeping elders out of nursing home. Ko mā ko ki whakatonga of lelei taha pe ni ki ai, ko e tau lava pe ke tau tauhi e tau kautau rekere ka I api o oua e ave ki nau tolu ke ngahi whare vai vai. Pea ko e tau toka ngai koe ki nau tolu, o hoko e koe whia ke nau mo ui, pea nau tala noa mo ki tau tolu, nau whai he whiohi mo I whamiri, whiohi mo hange ko nau au ki he lotu. Ko ngai mea ko ia, o kui kai ke maa ufokia I nursing home. He e ko toko te au tupu e kau nofo I nursing home. E alo atu pe e nau kau ngau e nau tolo, ate te mea kaipa nau au nau tolo. Kei kai ke nau nofo mena to iaha nau taimi ke nau nofo mai tonga e koe nau ngāwe koe toko tako tape ka koe whē mau ke tau pe a koutou rekereka ke na mo ui whewhia pia nofo pe I api. Thank you.
I just want to add that you made a very good analogy at the beginning of this talk, and that is, like the Tongan and Pacific Islander community, we can all pull together and support elders. That is what this program does. In the same way that immigrant families support their elders by taking care of them at home, we're here to provide that extra support along so that family members don't just have to spend their time caregiving. They can have the PACE program in conjunction with that and help provide stabilization, support, and peace of mind and well-being for the people that need our program. We're transforming lives of folks by meeting them where they are and providing them this amazing care to let them age with respect and age with their family and friends. I'm done.
Thank you, Jeremy. Those are very great information, and that's kind of fit into culturally for us, because that's how our culture, that we take care of each other, and in order for us to, to maintain and keep them happy, they have to be around their families and associate with everyone, because how we do believe, that no one knows your elders, more than you do, more than a doctor does, because you know what to make them happy, you know what their hobbies, you know how their life in the past, and that's what the purpose of the Providence Elderplace. It's well fit in culturally with us.
Right on.
I have a question here that I wanted to ask real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, it's coming from one of the listeners. She's asking, can you explain, what are the services that you provide for the elders? Thank you.
Oh, sure. I love this question. Okay. We take care of our elders, and a really simple way to think of it is we take care of everything from toenail cutting to transportation. We have Dr. Mogadam, who's here. We have mental health for folks. We have dentistry. We have eyeglasses. We have audiologists, full medical care, transportation, in-home caregiving services, social work, prescription medications and over-the-counter medicines, incontinence supplies. We provide every piece of medical equipment a person might need, from a cane through hospital beds. It's full, comprehensive care that it involves taking care of the whole person. We even provide spiritual services for folks who would like to talk with our spiritual care team about spiritual things. It's a holistic program that takes and touches every single aspect of a person's life. So again, the benefits and services that most people are very jazzed up about are transportation, which is an unlimited benefit, access to your full medical team 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, full medical services and hospitalizations and specials provided through Swedish Hospital, as well as in-home care, social work, again, dentistry, hearing, vision, and audiology. So that's pretty much everything. And again, all the services from toenail cutting to transportation, we're going to do it.
Transportation, o puka ha transportation kapag mo uha family o ia kia ta na ona to nga we pa ka ta ke a ko pa pon mini o si ilo be ia e Providence Elderplace hot time apon mini he ko nga na sio na to ke uskero he ko na me pe fai ko ta e to famana to at ko ne te mawi he na fi ha ke pick up te na ta te a ta ki mo a uia ke nga he ko hangi ko toenails tu e pesi na fai ka to a ke matso ata ai mo nifo o kai ke to hela ia ko ko ngai ke kava ko toa he ko in siwa mea o kuna fai ko toa ai upro kalama ko ini ko tau mo ia ke to ko ni ai ka to re ke na mo ilele pe ko ia ko tai ni pe ni ke ngawe aka ngai pro kalama pe ko hale ba me akapa ke ngawe aki pe amore no ia pe fenga mari ka ko full time lele ni ke ngawe aki pe nge ko ia ko ne lau Ka nge koe whai ngani ihi, o ku kai ke lava koe ke ai nau ni fo. O ku lava pe e Providence Elderplace, ka pau pe o ke qualify ki ai. Kai ke iaha mea te ke totongi, te nau kumi pe nau tolu ai ngahi tokoni ke nau hanga o ngawe aki ke ngahi honi fo, pe koe hape. Ha o ki he su koe ia o ku whiunga moho wā e koe su ke comfortable. Su ke whiunga le lei pea molu le lei ki ho o lue pea hao kia koe. Ha o ki he ngahi supplies koe ia o whi mau koe e koe. O ku nau whai katoa. O ku i kai koe mea pe tahi. Te nau whai katoa koe tamua ke nofo pe e kautore ke re ka nofo pe i api. O fia whakataha e moi family. Thank you so much. I got another question here.
Sure.
It's just asking one more. How do I qualify for this program?
That's a great question. First off, I'd like to let all your listeners know of our phone number. If you want to call and speak with someone about your situation or a family member's situation, our main number is 206-320-5325. And you can just ask for me or anyone. My name's Jeremy. You can ask for somebody in marketing or intake. And if you need a translator, just say that on the phone and they can get you to a translator to help with the conversation. But your question you asked me is how a person qualifies. Well, they're eligible for our program two ways, two requirements. One is a functional requirement. That means a person needs help doing 3 tasks or more of daily living a day. And these are all the common tasks that each and every one of us do every day. Bathing, walking, cooking, balancing, toileting, transferring from the shower to a toilet, getting oneself dressed, preparing meals. These are all common tasks that each and every one of us does every day. If an elder that you know is having a hard time with any 3 of those tasks, along with, say, maybe making doctor's appointments, and certainly Dr. Mogadam can talk to managing medications. That's a big one that we see for elders, that when they're really having some problems, that's when they can't remember to take their medications or what time and which one. Anything like that, where you see an elder suffering or just having some difficulty, that's the functional way that they can become eligible. It's done with what's known as an alert called a COPES form. Any one of us can help you do it. It's free. There's no charge. Just give us a call and we can start that process by you telling us of some of the problems or difficulties an elder is having. The other eligibility is financial. A person must be eligible by being eligible for Medicaid. That's not to say that folks who are over-resourced for Medicaid can't still be on PACE, but the basic eligibilities are functional, those tasks of daily living I talked about, and financial. Can you qualify financially? Currently, our program serves 98% of the people who are on our program are on both Medicare and Medicaid.
Jeremy, hange ko ki motol ko yak mo whanonga mai, ko e polo kalama lelei taha eni ki he toko taha ko tope. Pea ka pau na e ila o ku i kai ke sai polo kalama ko ni. He kai ke te mau vahe atu. Ka kou ila o ku well fit au pita polo kalama ko ni. Pea mo tau kakai. Ko i ngā he nau whai e mea ko tope. Ka hange pe ko tuku atu i ki taha to mawhasia. Nau whai pe ai mea kotoa pe. Ka koe na ne tuku mai whaki mo ne whika telefoni. E ko i ngā o kua uki he nau ai mata so ata kawa kotoa uke hearing aid katoa pe ko haho o whia mau. Pea ko i ai ko whamalota ki motoko ki molotoni mo kātak pe mo ka musi i vahe atu. Noirini whinau ko tui pe maha te ke qualify ke polokalamani. Ke olo mana vayangina ma e fit lelea mama. Tahine ko mere mon kalani walu ki polo kalamani. And Lopez, thank you so much for joining with us. And Katerina Lillian, thank you so much for joining us. You can share the program. It's not just for islanders, it's for everyone. Mere
Correct.
malo o pito kau mai, ko unga pe ko polo kala mai ni ai whamatala whakatonga atu, but otherwise this program here is for everyone. Jeremy, could you please give us your phone number one more time so we can put it out on the screen?
Absolutely. 206-320-5325.
Okay, I'm gonna ask our radio tech, to put it out.
Thank you.
Okay, one more time, it's 206-320.
320-5325.
Ko na mahak mo me mai peki ai ko fika telefoni and her name is Jeremy. Ua no aono ka pau o ku yaha o ki pene pake ka taki tohi I fo kona e tuku ia pehe ata ka taki neta o tuku ia te telefoni. Ua no aono tolu wanoa nima tolu wanima. Ke tuku atu I he ata I he la so that people could get access to the phone number. 206-320-5325 Wanoaono tolu wanoa nima tolu wanima fitu takanga tona peka Jeremy ko ia tene tokoni ko Jeremy ko hange waki miracles is wonderful. She can be able to assist you and make your ends meet all your needs. Yeah? Okay, one last question, Jeremy.
Sure.
Yeah, I think I asked that in the beginning, with the people that switch to the Providence Elderplace, what is a most important testimony that the people could share, about their benefit, from this program, from Providence Elderplace?
Well, I think the most beneficial could really be talked about through the eyes of the pandemic. We've looked at how many seniors have suffered with isolation, not getting doctor's appointments, not getting prescriptions, not just being isolated in fear and not able to do what they want to do, which is live their daily lives. This program supports the entire being, the entire person, and the goal and the philosophy is to help elders age with dignity and respect in the communities that they live, living with their family and their friends nearby, not shuttered off and isolated in a nursing home where no one sees you and you just spend your time listing away, sitting around. We want to engage our community. The promise that we make is that we want to be there to walk with our participants from where we meet them through the end of life. Our program is designed to address health concerns, social concerns, physical concerns, emotional concerns of the whole aging person. And I don't know of any program in the country that is able to deliver on the transformations that we have done for our elders. We treat the whole person. We meet them where they are to help them, support them, age in place, age in the community, not in a nursing home. And that's the single biggest benefit I can think of that people need to know. It supports the entire family. It's going to be there well for you and for your family who take care of you. We are going to be able to assist and support in those things. And it's really amazing. And the only other part I want to add is that knowing that our program, that 98% of our people are on Medicaid and Medicare, I also want you to tell your listening audience, Sylvia, that once a person is enrolled in PACE, there are no copays and there are no deductibles. So if they have to go to the hospital or to a rehab stint, no copays, no deductibles. Once you're in PACE, every cost is covered. We do it. So that's the biggest benefits I can think of.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for all the great information. Thank you for sharing that. Hangai pe koi na informatala tu we ka hame e totongi kai ke pe o ka ha Medicaid, ma Medicare o skava ka ta pa ko Medicaid pe o skava ka to pe ya. Ko yai ko polokalama mahu inga ni ke ngawe aki pe a ku to koni lahi ke te ko pe a mo family Kia no tauhi o ka vai vai ma koutou reka reka. Thank you, Jeremy. We're gonna play this little music here. Thank you again, Tino, for joining with us, and then we're gonna hop in with Dr. Aresh. Eh?
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a great evening, everyone.
Thank you. Ko whanga maria ko ni, wao hanga o tuku atu ai ma o whanga maria pa mo toki tā, ai ko Dr. Aresh, ko i ngā ke tau kawhata mo ia i he program ko i aho ni. Ko Dr. Aresh whaki ko i program ia, ko i toka taha ia une tonga e ta whaaki ko ia ki he mental health support. Welcome to our Pacific Islanders broadcast, Dr. Aresh. Thank you so much for taking your time. If you could just please introduce yourself and what are you practicing, Tino, with the Providence Elderplace?
Sure. My name is Raj Mogadam. I'm actually I'm a psychiatrist that works with Elderplace, and I did my training in Houston, Texas, and then I came up here back in 2011, and I did my fellowship at the University of Washington in geriatric psychiatry. So I primarily work with older adults, and that's kind of my passion.
We're very fortunate to have you take your time, to participate on our Pacific Islanders broadcast today. And I know that you're going to talk about the mental health. Mental health is also affected a lot of our people because they're so used, to be around with a group of people. And when they are lonely, or maybe the family working, or they're busy with something else, and sometimes it can maybe hurt them, but no, not all the time that they could share. But my first question is, what is the difference between being sad, experiencing grief, and clinical depression? I will also say something in our native language about the question, because some English is a second language, so about 90% of our people speak English. But I always just want to make sure that everybody could get the information. Ko
Sure.
hae whai ke he o e loto mamahi mo ha te hange koe ni o loto ngā hoko. Ai whai ngā taa koe ni o mole a tai mo ui koe ne whai toko whā i he tai mini. Pea koe te loto mamahi pe koe hana hano whai kehe mea tai mi o ko te loto mamahi a ha hoko a whai ngā taa pe koe mole a to o whaanga. Pea mo e clinical depression. Ai a maha koe ki i whaton lea pe ki ai o ngahi mea a whakawhare mahaki pea kune ue sia e te whakaukau. So, what's the difference between being sad, experiencing grief, and clinical depression? Thank you.
Sure. So, these are common things, right? I think everybody experiences sadness, day to day, week to week. Those are parts of just human existence. But I've been asked that question a lot before, and people wonder, well, when do I need to be worried about, myself, family member, and how do I know the difference between what is sort of normal sadness and what is more worrisome? And in this case, if we take away just normal sadness, which is sort of everyday ups and downs that everybody experiences, and then go to the other extreme, which is clinical depression. Now, sadness is only one part of clinical depression. People who experience clinical depression have a lot of other symptoms as well. And we try to make them sort of objective so that it doesn't appear kind of, fluffy. So when we look at depression, we're looking at very specific symptoms, like, is someone having recurrent sadness more often than not? Okay. Is this person losing interest in doing the things that they used to do? Like if they enjoyed reading or sewing or fishing, going out for walks, playing with their dog, and suddenly they're not enjoying any of these things anymore. They're leaving, the dishes undone. They're not taking care of their own personal hygiene anymore. They're sleeping a lot, 10 to 14 hours a day. Their appetite could change. Usually it's people eating less, losing weight. But sometimes it's the opposite. People can overeat as a way to sort of comfort themselves. And people often have a lot of guilty thoughts or thoughts of regret. And it can sort of spiral where sometimes people feel hopeless about the future and maybe even living. And so they may contemplate not living anymore. And so that's the extreme, which, that's clinical depression. Now, not everyone will have all of those things at the same time. But if someone has several of those symptoms over a 2-week period or longer, then we can say, okay, this is probably not just normal sadness. And that's when, you definitely want to make sure you're talking to someone who can help you figure out, okay, do you need, or would you benefit from treatment? Now, if I can go back to the grief section, as people get older, it's more common to lose family members, friends, and people pass away. That's just part of what happens as people get older. And sometimes people lose a spouse, and they're sad, and they ask me, well, I heard my spouse the other night. I was sleeping in bed by myself and I heard their voice. Is there something wrong with me? And another time someone said, I was sitting at the breakfast table, and this is after their spouse had passed away maybe a few weeks before. And they looked up and they saw the other person, they saw their spouse at the other side of the bed. The table. And again, they were concerned, is this bad? Should I not be having these things? And, there's a spectrum of normal, and these things are actually within the spectrum of normal. However, if they persist and get more severe, then we might say, okay, well, this is not normal grief anymore. And then we have to think about, okay, maybe it has progressed into depression. And again, treatment would be necessary and definitely advised.
Thank you, Dr. Arash, for this great information that you shared. And it's happening right now in our community. There was like 4 people died from a car crash. It was 2 mothers, they are sisters, and their 2 kids. And a matter of fact, I just came back from the viewing. It's just very emotional, and it is just sad, and it just like it's already almost affecting it, it's not my family, but I was there to be part of it. And, you know, if I can feel it, I can imagine the elders, that are related, and being the immediate family. But thank you so much for explaining all of this, that's hange ko mea kona ni whamatala kia i ko te mtaha mo he whangani o misi. Nau sia nau tau i ko nau ngahi family, nau tamut mai ta whaaki. E moe a ngā pe alu nau whakaukau kia i ko ngai mea whakia ko ne hanga o i sia tau ngai whakaukau te mla. Ka ko e mea ainu ku sai ko polka ama kana Providence Elderplace so kai nau kauto e tā. Ke tokoni ke kauto e reka ke fia e nau mo ue. Ma ngai mea te nau lava o fia Maria. The next question is forgetfulness normal as we age? Ko taimi ko ia o ku tawa wa ke tole ke ka o ku ko e mea ko ngalo o ku hoko pe ia ko e mea hange pe ia normal lo pe ka ki tolu. Is forgetfulness normal as we age? It happens sometime with our people too.
Yeah, so that's one of the most common questions I think people have, and very normal thing to think about and ask, because I think there's a maybe sort of a social idea that well, we should all have memory problems as we get older. We should just accept them, and that's supposed to be normal. But in reality, it's actually not how it's supposed to work. And most people actually don't have memory problems, or the kinds of memory problems that, again, would be concerning. Sort of like, sadness, normal sadness versus true clinical depression. So some degree of memory issues can happen, right? These are the things that a lot of times people call like senior moments, or, I misplaced something and then later on, I couldn't find it, but, the following day it showed up, I found it. So those kinds of things can happen. Again, not worrisome, not a reason to kind of, change things a lot or panic. But just like depression, when memory problems start to have other things associated with them. So, for example, you might notice that maybe a loved one, their language is not as good anymore. Their language is more simple. Perhaps they don't talk as much. Maybe they don't recognize people as well. Or maybe they mistake one item for another. Maybe they can't do the things that they used to do with their hands anymore. For example, like tying their shoes or buttoning a shirt. Things that they had learned before that were kind of automatic, but now they need a lot more cueing and instructions to do them. And then over time, this can change even more, right? Where people can't necessarily manage more complicated things like paying their own bills, remembering to take the right exit ramp when they're driving home. Maybe they forget to lock the doors. Maybe they leave the stove on. Maybe they leave the water running. And so you can see that it's not just a memory problem. It's more of a global issue where different parts of the brain that used to work together just aren't functioning like they used to. And that's more worrisome. But usual, like, if someone has some forgetfulness, and that's pretty much it, then that's not a big deal. I don't think that's something to worry about too much.
Dr. Resh, hangi pego ka ngai whamatala. Maka taim lahi pege, ma upe tau mo ui pege tau whiwhia ka koe ha upe koe ai kamata ke hoholo I sino pea oku ha oi pe pea moe ngalo ngalo. Ka kai pe na upor kalama e tokoni kia te koe. Ke toni I koe I ngai taimi koe. Okay, the next question. When families seek help for their loved one, if they are concerned about memory loss.
Yeah, so basically, it's like when should families seek help? And I think this is where, when you talk about the PACE program, why it's sort of very unique and very helpful, because a lot of times I think most people in most cultures prefer to keep family at home for as long as possible. And, people do the best that they can. I think if there are lots of family members involved, that's usually the best thing, because people can take turns, they can help each other. One person doesn't get burned out. Going to appointments. In other places that I have worked in the past, it was often the same one or two family members that used to bring in their loved ones. But if someone has a younger family who are working or taking care of children, and they're not able to take their loved ones to doctor's appointments, or eye doctor, or the hearing doctor, specialists, that's where PACE and the transportation part of it is really helpful, because the person who's needing the care isn't dependent on just one or two family members being able to shuttle them back and forth. And so I think most of the time when people are thinking about when should I ask for more help, I usually tell them the sooner the better, because a lot of times people wait too long, and they're kind of doing as much as they can, but they're realizing, okay, I can't do it all on my own anymore. Sometimes people have physical problems, right? They need to be, they need, for example, lifting, or they need hygiene care, where you might not be able to lift that loved one, and then if that person has memory problems over time, more often than not, I would say, people can also develop behavioral issues. And this is very common in dementia. So again, people do the best that they can at home, try to take care of their loved ones, up to a point. Let's say their loved ones are constantly trying to leave the house at night. A lot of times people with dementia can have hallucinations, they can have delusions, paranoia. They might try to escape from the house because maybe they feel threatened by something that isn't even there. And that happens way more frequently than we probably realize. So, the house may not be able, the family may not be able to keep the loved one at home. And I think it's when people start realizing that, okay, all of these things that I can't do in the home setting, that I can't control, that's a sign that, okay, it's probably time to get help.
Thank you so much. Nge ko yan ane whamatala koe koe tā. Koe pe taimi koe ngā koe taimi pe ke whai e toka ngā I koe ki nau tolu. Ko ngā ke ua e fuu hela ia pa ngō sia pe toka tā. Ko ngā ke burn out e toka tā ko ia hono whai e toka ngā I pa moe unga e koe ni. Ka pau pe kia ngai kupe kau ake family. Pe lava pe kia pe moe ngai mea ke toko ni ka kita ka pau te toka tā. Ko ngā ke ua e hoko e te nofo ko o tahui ki te vai o a uwe te me tahaya o mo ilele e klaienia ka te mamahaki kita. Ai ko ngahi me e taha mata ak mahu inga koe ke whana toka ngai. Okay, I think I got all the questions, but I just have this one question here. This is from William Madsen. William Madsen. Thank you, William. Okay, he's asking, what is your best advice, because my age right now, I am 69 years old. and I'm started to being forgetful. Out of all the things that you explain, it is very helpful. What can you advise to me to live happily ever after? I will say something in our language, native language. Ai ko foi fe hui ko na ha mi he tota ko ni ko tota muri pe ia ko wila medicine na ne pe he ko hana ha me e lava e tokoni ki a te au ke no fo fa to la as le ko ta no hi ba in ko ko ke to ta ko ha ni fale. Yeah, I think the question was asking what is your best advice overall, as you already know what to advise at this time.
Sure. Sure. So for William, if William is someone who is generally healthy and doing okay, you don't need to do anything radically different, but you need to pay attention to a couple of things. And these things affect both the mood side of things and the memory side of things. Those two things work hand in hand. So oftentimes people with mood problems can develop, memory problems and vice versa. So the first and foremost is staying socially active, not isolating and kind of just staying at home, not seeing people. That's one of the worst things. The second thing is getting some sort of regular exercise. It doesn't have to be strenuous. You don't have to, do jumping jacks, just gentle walking, getting around, doing something that gets your heart rate up. Sometimes people can't even do those things, right? They're wheelchair bound or they have a bad knee or bad back. So then it's doing chair exercises, something you can do sitting. And there's lots of videos on YouTube. You can pull up, chair exercises and do them. It's important to do them regularly, instead of doing 1 hour once a week, it's generally better to do maybe like 15 minutes 5 times a week or 4 times a week. It's the same amount of time, but it's the frequency that's more important. And then the third thing is diet. So, all the same things that you hear about from your other doctors that are important for your heart health and, your vascular health are also important for mental health, both mood and memory. So when they say, okay, eat a Mediterranean diet, right? Decrease the amount of trans fats, increase your omega-3 fatty acids, eat red meat in very small quantities, more fish, more chicken, more vegetables, eat the rainbow. That's also a good thing to remember. Eat colorful foods. So between the diet, the exercise, the socialization, those are actually the only 3 things that have been shown to improve mood and memory and reduce the risk of memory problems later in life. A lot of things you see on TV about, this supplement and that supplement and this pill, none of it actually has been shown to be effective in more rigorous studies. So things you see on TV or hear on the radio, you have to kind of take with a grain of salt.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aresh. Thank you. I have some elderlies that are inside here. Kalisi tau whanako tupe pe whanako mai ki he ngai whamatala anga koe toi tā. Koe me alahi taha koe food, koe tau anga food and memory, koe mea kai. Aia ka pau tau kai mo ilele te tau mo ilele. Koe hape mea ko tau mau, koe mea pia mo ki I whamalo sino pe. Koe ngā he ko fu aanga au pito ki tau toka ngai e tau mau mea toko ni, koe mea ia oku ne toko ni I koe ki tau tolu. Aia ka hangena ne pehe koe koe lahi ange kala keke. Mā koe me koe ofi taha koe hange koe ngai foi ball pepper. One is green, one is yellow, one is orange, one is red. I mean, you can imagine, those beautiful colors. And that's how that's going to make our body healthy and beautiful inside. And hanga whare I vai toi tā, koe mea pēia te tau lava ko maa ko pa tau mo ilele mea I. E ko I ngā koe mea ia o tau ngawe aki tau whao ki loto. Koe tau mea toko ni, oku ne whatupunga mea I e tau mo ilele. Pea ko iai o ku kapau ki te iaha mo ki whehu I koe ni koe o sinema programa ko ia pea moe to ke tā ka tau hoko atu ki he konga honoua ka ko whamalo atu hin ki toi tā. Thank you so much Dr. Aresh, for all the beautiful resources, information, and that was a good advice. And I love the last part, best comes at last. It's our diet. And the vascular, this person is asking, can you explain to me what is the vascular doing? Does more harm or good? What is the benefit of vascular to my body? Thank you.
Can you read it for me one more time?
Oh, what is the vascular? What is the vascular doing to the body?
Oh, vascular. So vascular means your blood vessels. So all the blood vessels that for your body. So the things that are helpful for to protect your blood vessels, that's why we talk about the diet and the exercise. So the diet and the exercise are primarily to help protect your blood vessels from getting hard and stiff as you get older. And so, the things about that, when you hear about the Mediterranean diet and eating the rainbow, mostly fruits, vegetables, very small amount of meat, those kinds of diets are what protect the blood vessels the most.
Aia koe uhina whaka koe vascular ka hange pe ko tau kālawa ia ke mo I lele. Paka pau aia tuku lahi ngā ko moisu ka tau mea kai. O alia fatu ia pana poloka to tau toto pe ala tua nofo tau ai koe mea ma o mea toko ni mo I lele. Ko hape o mea wha o kiloto hange pe hao utu hakesi ki ho mea lele. Hange pe ko te inu ko ha te mea pukai. Ko ia pe hange pe ko tau whatata ka pau te inu ha ka wamalohi ka te kona pe ka pau ko mea pe ko te wha o kiloto ko mea ia how your body behave. Thank you so much, Dr. Aresh. We are so grateful to for all this great information. If you have anything else to share, we're coming to the conclusion part, but we are very grateful and we're looking forward to have more program with you in the future.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Appreciate it, and thanks for having me on.
Yes, great. Thank you. We'll do the Pacific Melody as to thank you, the Providence Elderplace, for all this great information. Thank you.
Angi mai mei he saute Wela I ui ae o tu wherenite Ongo mai o hange hango welile O pehe hange mai ke hoko maupe
Welcome, Food Equity Fund. That is the second part. That's our part 2 of our broadcast today. Is the Food Equity Fund. Koe ngahi polokalama ini o whekau aki pia moe ngahi koe ai City of Seattle. O koe Food Equity Fund, ngahi polokalama tokoni. Pau te mohanga o ngahi whanki mea kai pe koe ha tufa. O koe ai ina u tokoni lahi a pito. Ki ha kulupu pe ko ha organization pe ko ha pe ha mea kautaha kawai pe hange ko ki nautolo hange ko ngai apsiasi pe ko na ku lotonga whakahauko foki I he Highland Park I he kau senior pe I he apsiasi ko ia Methodist ko ia Highland Park of na kuki I he whalaite ko ta pe tu whaki pe ko ia I te nauhanga whamatala mai he. So I would like to welcome our Lisa Huamoto, and also our special guest today from the Food Equity Fund. Hello, welcome to
Hello, hi, how are you?
Hi.
It's so good to be here again. And we feel honored to be able to share with you all more about our program. So, and I wish I would have joined in earlier because that was a pretty helpful information. Even I
Yes,
have to learn from the
absolutely.
Providence about memory
Yes.
loss and healthy eating and stuff like that. So thank you for coordinating all that. Just quickly, I'll do a quick intro. My name is Lisa Huamoto with the City of Seattle Department of Neighborhood, and then I am one of the Food Equity Fund project manager. And I'm gonna pass my mic really quick to my colleague here, so he can do a quick intro.
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Zach Frimmel. I'm also a project manager with the Food Equity Fund at the Department of Neighborhoods. And yeah, I think this is a great segue from Rash's presentation. So looking forward to answering your questions. And thank you, Sylvia, for having us on.
Oh, thank you and welcome. We're so glad that you'll be a part of our program today because we love to, to share this great resources, information to our community abroad, especially our Pacific Islanders, to know more about the Food Equity Fund. Please, if you can go ahead and tell us, what is the Food Equity Fund? There's a lot of people. If you could put up the can you make up the banner, make it bigger so that the people could see that? Yes. So as you can see on the screen, go in the moment am I go Food Equity Fund. I go apply for grant now. Now is the time.
Okay.
Apply for it now. Okay, and then the detailed information is on the flyer. The molava pel to ma uya. Kau kaya ngai futokon lahi au pito. Okay, Lisa and also your co-partner, you can
Zach?
go ahead and tell us, what is the Food Equity Fund?
Yeah, so if it's okay with you, I'll give you a really quick overview of the Food Equity Fund. And then if it's possible, right after that, if we can show a really quick 5 minutes of the video that we did, that people can still hear the audio of that kind of share a little bit more Food Equity Fund. I think you have watched that before, but then if everybody's okay, we'd love to share that.
Yes.
And then Zach can kind of go into more detail and give some examples, and then we can just kind of open it up for people's questions and answers.
Yes.
That sounds like a good plan?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So again, Food Equity Fund. So what do we do? I mean, this is a fund that particularly for community identified and community led projects that are looking to increase equitable access and opportunity to either learn about, to grow, to eat healthier and affordable and culturally relevant foods. So that's really is what Food Equity Fund is really about. We fund projects that are identified and initiated and led by the community, that they let us know what kind of project they would like to do that can increase access and opportunity for them to learn about, to grow, to eat healthy and affordable and culturally relevant food. So it does have to provide community benefit and be free and open to the public. And then since it's the funding came from the tax dollar being collected in Seattle from purchasing sweet beverage, the project does need to involve community members and occur primarily within the city of Seattle. So that's like a really quick high level of what Food Equity Fund does. And then right now, what's open is a tier 2 of the Food Equity Fund, which specific support project that have a budget between $80,000 to $150,000, and for projects that are from at least 15 months to 24 months long project. So would be excited to tell you more, but then I think if possible, that us share with you a video that we have. I don't know what's the best way to do this. I did also post the video link in the chat. Should I share screen?
We can share our screen.
But otherwise, next week, we'll have a little bit more of a more advanced system, and you can just maybe explain. But otherwise, we'd like to invite you also for next week, so we can just kind of focus on a lot of people asking. Okay, I will say something in our tongue language. Koe na koe polokalama koe na tuka te taimini. Koe polokalama na whikau aki koe apa moe Food Equity Fund. O kamata I he paanga I walumano ki he taha kilo ni mamano. Koe fu paanga la ia tuwange mahe siri o siaro. Pa oe ai te pehe ke loto si o pu pehe mo pe. Koe paanga koe ni e lava ke mo apply ki ai. Pe koe ke pehe ia koe whai I kai. Ko ha taha pe mo apply ke mo ngawe aki e ko ngā lau miliona ai se ni kona e mau mai pe a kutuku atu ko whenga marien ke lava ai peha o ki mea kai pe a tufaki atu ke community ko ia. Thank you so much.
So do you want me to go ahead and share the screen
Yes,
and see if I can do that? Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So let's see. Can people hear that okay?
You might want to turn it up a little bit. Can you turn it up on your end?
You can hear it, right? It was playing the music already, but you're not able to hear the audio. Let's see.
Are you able to get it, Neta? Yeah, our radio tech is working on it right now. Sorry.
Let me try this again.
To eat vegetables. I like to eat carrots and broccoli. I like to eat cabbage. I like to eat carrots, broccoli, and celery. I like to eat blueberries.
The Food Equity Fund was an idea that came from the Sweetened Beverage Tax Community Advisory Board. They realized that there was food insecurities in a lot of communities of color, and they wanted to create a fund to help address some of those food insecurities and inequities. One of the programs that we're funding now is the Clean Greens Farm and Market, and what they're doing is they're providing locally sourced fruits and vegetables to residents in the Central District of Seattle.
Yeah, I have a small bundle of carrots.
I knew something was wrong, but I did not quite know what it was until I started working for Clean Greens. When I would go in a store in a richer neighborhood versus a store in a more poor neighborhood, where the produce and vegetables were not as beautiful, or even when it was there, it was expensive. And if we can't feed our family healthy foods, they're gonna be lethargic, they're gonna be tired, and they're not gonna be clear. They're not gonna be able to go out in their community and do the work. They're not even gonna be able to perform well in school. And this is why Clean Greens came about. Clean Greens Farm and Market is a nonprofit farm who is dedicated to growing fresh produce for our community. So we grow fresh produce on a farm in Duval. We bring it back to the city, and we have a CSA program, and we have a giveaway program.
All right, thank you.
Out on the farm, we grow a variety of vegetables. We grow curly kale, flat kale, dinosaur kale, cabbage, kohlrabi, squash, zucchini, chard. We grow beets. They are huge, and they are juicy, and they are good. I feel like community work is in me. It's in my legacy. From my grandfather to my mom to my grandmother, everyone in my family, we always have been about the community. I was raised in a church. I do this because I love to help people. I love to make people feel good. I love to uplift people. We're teaching our adults, but we're also starting with kids. So we're raising up a generation of kids who are going to know how to eat healthy, who are going to know how to take care of their earth, and know how to give back to their community.
The measure of success for this program, we realize that it's not all going to be immediate. I think it's impossible for it all to just connect right away. And we realize that it's going to be a long game, and that's what we're here to play, is really the long game, to try to really build in health in relation to food, but also build in community security around food so that we have less food insecurity amongst BIPOC communities, amongst immigrant and refugee communities, youth, elders, and folks with young families. Another group we're funding is the American Polynesian Organization, and they are creating boxes of food that's culturally relevant for members of the American Polynesian community. They're also creating hot meals for members of the community to take home as well.
We already have tuna. The chicken, no, not yet.
The organization was started in 2010, and then we registered with the state in 2011, and here we are. 11 years later, we're still going strong. We donated, there's a lot of volunteer time, there's a lot of food that we go pick it up every week, and we bring it down here to my house, and we pack it in boxes. That's on Monday. But on Tuesday, we go to the church and give it away to people who really needed the food. They drive around, pick up their hot meal, which is free, and the boxes of food, and there they go, and enjoy them. So we see them the following week. We do this every week since we started.
We'll help you put it in the bag.
Oh man, it makes me very, very happy and glad that I help people. Because to me, love is the word that is very important. If you have love in your heart, nothing else comes after that, And I feel very glad and enjoy what I'm doing. I'm still gonna do the most I can to help my people and anybody else, whoever needs help.
If you are looking to apply to the Food Equity Fund for a project that's around healthy food education, growing food for your community, delivering food to your community, then this is the grant that you want to apply for. We are really encouraging organizations, community groups from BIPOC communities, immigrant refugee communities, as well as folks who are really looking at addressing youth food insecurity, elder food insecurity, and young families. Those are really the communities that this grant is seeking to reach.
These are really, really sweet.
If any of these ideas seem attractive to you, then please come to the Food Equity Fund. You can visit our webpage. We have information there. You can reach out to us. Please come to the fund. We really want to work with you.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you all. Yes.
That is such a great information. Thank you so much, and I'm going to share it, with our community, and I wanted to make sure that it's distributed and circulate, to all our community abroad. And I'm going to ask Neta to do the same thing to it, because this is a great opportunity, for our Pacific Islanders, because food is like a wealth to us too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you go to any event and there's not enough food there, it's almost like a poor event. If you go to a little event, but it has a lot of food, it's like a wealthy event. So, by the way, I have this question here from this person was asking, how can I get started? Is there anybody who will assist me to fill out my application online? Or I can call you guys and then you can walk me on. Ko ye te ma utokoni ke anga fonga ko ye ke fa fono ai application ko ye online. Malo.
Zach, do you want to answer that, or let me know if
Sure.
you want to?
Yes, we are. There are 4 project managers. Lisa and I are here, kind of helping really just spread the word. There is an opportunity to specifically help with review support, with application support. So if applicants submit their draft application by April 16th, we can work with the organization to make sure their project is in line with the eligibility guidelines, as well as just give them some strategies and some language to help develop their application and their project, and any kind of like partnerships that they might want to pursue for their project. So yeah, there are definitely opportunities to work with a project manager on your application.
And then feel free to stop me anytime if you need to do a translation. But I think the best thing is to contact us now, because then what we'll do is we'll hear about what you're thinking about, and then we can kind of figure out what makes sense, because everybody's their need or support from us might be different. So it would be good to just contact us, and then we can kind of figure out how can we best support you throughout the application process. So I'm actually I just posted our general hotlines and our general email information in the chat. But then I'm also gonna just copy and paste Zach's contact information and my contact information. So feel free to contact us directly as well. And then
And for those on the radio, the general hotline is the Food Equity Fund at seattle.gov. That's GOV. And then the phone number to reach us is 206-727-FOOD, which is 3663. It's best to contact us as the sooner the better, just so we have it more, the most amount of time to work with you will help help us prepare and give you good advice on applying. Yeah. So, and thank you, Lisa, for putting that in the chat.
Thank you, Zach. We greatly appreciate, this is great information. And I have this one more question here that just came in. It's asking, I don't live in the Seattle area, but I'll be happy to follow the guidelines and what is required from us, from our group. Are we able to find a place in the Seattle, because we have churches, groups that the address is Seattle. Is that okay that we could do that with our organization and go prepare food, hot food, to serve to the city of Seattle residents?
Yes. So I think I want to say yes. So I would really encourage this person to go ahead and contact us directly. I know earlier Zach had mentioned about number, and I'll just also share my number, which is 206-858-1673. Part of it is because since the taxes are being collected in Seattle, so the applicant does have to be a group from Seattle. Right. So if you have a church group, which you earlier mentioned, that you're interested to apply and have the activity happen in Seattle, that's great, and that will work. So we're happy to learn more about your project and work with you. So give us a call.
Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love the flexibility and then the open doors, to help our community. Aya ko ngai whanga mari ko ni utoko ni kia tahape. Ukai ko inga pen te no fisiato. O inga pen ni ko ngai ko feitu ko ke tu fakia tahe mo me to ni ko ngai whake ko senit ko no ko mai ko silin ko ni fu pa ngala ko no mai val mano ke tahkilu ni mamano o fai ki olunga ko inga ko mai foki per ni city of Seattle. Pa ko yai o na tamu afoki ko ha me atokon pe ko ha a me te lava tokon ni ai ki ka kai ko Seattle. Pea ku hape ki ngau te lava fai, ka ku lava pe ke atai ni ki ataha pe. Ka ke pe ko mo pulu pute mo whaho ko ngawe. O tu whaki ki he kau me mi paka. Pe ka kai pe mo siasi pe. Hape ka ke pe ke whakaho ko ngawe is. Thank you so much, Lisa and Zach, for the very blessing information, to our community. I'd like to ask, this is my own question, please, if you can, do you have any workshop or anything that some of the people may like to, they can ask question or understanding, virtually or any Zoom meeting or anything?
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. So yes, we do. We have several support services that we offer. Basically, every Wednesday every Wednesday from 4 to 5:30 p.m. We have office hours, and that's basically anybody can just drop in, and the 4 project managers will be there to help answer any questions or help help you with any questions you have about your application or the project scope. And then we also offer support by appointments. We also have on Wednesdays from 5:30 to 7:30. The last appointment would be at 7:30 to also have more one-on-one application support. And then to put on the calendar, April 12th is our last workshop. It's our third workshop, and we've had a couple already so far. And it's April 12th from 6 to 7:30 p.m. And that'll be a kind of more informal session. So we'll do kind of like a 20-minute video to kind of walk applicants through kind of like the application process, and then answer questions that that the group has.
Hoia. Koe la pe mahalo te mauto ki lava pe o whanonga le lei pe ki hono whamatala i atu. O ata pe ia koe ngahi mea koe ni lava pe aia o gai nau ngahi koe prelulu ko toa pe me he taimi wha ki ni ma. Aia te mo lava pe koe na e tuko e me telefone neta Titi will put up the phone number. Koe ngā te mo lava pe you can call them directly. I just have one more question that just came in. I wish that you guys could tune in and put your own question in. I have one question from a community leader. If this is a front-loaded grant or reimbursable grant? And
yeah,
I think I don't. I cannot interpret, the question. I think that I will give it to you.
Please, you can take that one.
But I'm happy to answer that.
Yeah.
It is a reimbursable. So the grant, if you got selected and then awarded and have a contract with us, the payment will be on the reimbursement based. Okay. What that means is you do need to make the purchase first, and then submit your receipt to us, and then we'll reimburse you the cost. Oh, wow. However, for this grant, we understand for some smaller grassroots nonprofit, it may be a little harder because they may not have a lot of cash flow available right away. So then what we do offer is we do offer to provide up to like 10% of the project amount or awarded amount as a startup fund, so that you have a little bit of cash at the beginning to start with. But then right after that, everything again kind of just goes straight to the reimbursement process.
Okay. Just another one here. I was asking, do you have to be a 501c3 to apply, or can businesses working with the community apply?
So you don't have to be a 501c3, and then a business cannot apply. So you have to. So I guess what that means is, if you're a community group that want to apply, you can apply. And then, but you do need to have a fiscal sponsor that has a 501c3 status. Unfortunately, because it is public funds, and then right now, we understand that business also play a very important role in the food system world. But right now, since we have other department that does, for business loans and business funds. So right now for us, this fund unfortunately is not available for business.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, kaikie kawaii business but to answer the question, anybody can apply. Hange pe kapag group ko siasi, hange ko ngai group fai kava. Te mo lava ka to pe o apply ki hen. Pe ko ha ngai fanga ki group pe fanga community. Ko me ko ke business o ko kaikie lava ia ka lava pe ha group. Hange ko ni ko mau ki committee ko ni ai Serotonin Relief Committee o lava lele pe. Ko ngai group fai kava ko ngai siasi. Mo ngā oe aki whainga mārie ko ni ko whainga mārie lahi eni. Ka oe ni fia mana bahe o lava peke te apply pa nā tuk whatontonu mai. Pa te tō kumre mai ki taia ha kau taha pio 501c3 whainga fua o pito. Te maulama tō toko ni atu. Te ko ngā ke alu rewa keste ni ti, ko ngā ko os le sita me federal government. Ko ngā pa mai rewa siri ni ki ai. Pe a osko ia pa ato at lewa se ni ti me ia kia muto. Okay, thank you so much. I just try to translate and interpret it to the listeners.
Yeah, can I jump in real quick, Auntie Sylvia?
Yes. Oh, there you are. Okay, go ahead.
Hey, Zach. Hey, Lisa. I was listening on Facebook Live, sitting in the waiting room because I'm coming on next. My name is Celia. I work with the Office of Equity and Community Partnership with Seattle County Public Health. So I was the one who asked those questions because it's more just from an equity perspective of these, reimbursable grants, right? You're not going to get the organizations you want because most people don't have that type of capital sitting in their bank to, buy groceries for community. So I respect your answer, Lisa. That makes total sense. But I just, just to be self-aware that you might not get the candidates you want to because, again, reimbursable grants are the worst. Because, yeah, you have to have, I think you said it was 80 to 150,000 is your award amounts, right? I mean, what nonprofit that you want to work with actually has that amount of money sitting in their bank account? I mean, it's just more something to think about. But I just wanted to make the Pacific Islander community aware of that because I also serve as the Pacific Islander priority population lead within county's response. So, but thank you guys for that information. It was super helpful.
And I really appreciate that because we definitely understand that's a hardship. So it's not, and then we kind of sort of as a city entity sort of also kind of figure out what could work. And then one thing I do want to say, one way, it's probably not the ideal situation, but it's a sort of a way to work around it. That's why we also, we allow applicant a community group. So they're not even a nonprofit or anything if they want to apply. But then what we are trying to do is also connect them so where the project can have a fiscal sponsor. So when a fiscal sponsor that came in, because their job is then they will be able to have some upfront money to help the community group to make those purchases first and then reimburse and then kind of go through those. So that's kind of workaround way. Still, of course, it's not the, compared to a smaller nonprofit and grassroots, it's not always the ideal because then any partnership also require more time. So we do recognize that and appreciate you sharing that and advocate for that because we'll continue to push internally with our city about that.
For sure. So then is the indirect cost going to be waived or is that a part of the application? So thinking about the 15 to 25% that most, fiscal sponsors charge for their fee for service?
We do allow up to 10% so that people can, so when you submit your application, if you have a fiscal sponsor and fiscal sponsor has a fee, you can put in up to 10% of your project cost.
Okay, but then if the cost is more, then that group is going just to have to pay that out of pocket.
Yes,
well, let's say they have a fiscal sponsor who has a non-negotiable of 20% because they have an accountant who's overworked but still has to process all those systems. Then that group is responsible for whatever past 10% is.
Yes. So we only allow up to 10%. And then we are also working with a group of nonprofit that are willing to, are sort of working on this and that have the capacity and able to partner with to do that. But yeah, anywhere is from, right now we're seeing anywhere is from the 3% to 10% cost on the fiscal sponsor. And
that's amazing.
Yeah. So. But then we can definitely also advocate up that there's, everything is up, right? Everything costs more now. So, so those are kind of thing. And then keep in mind, I also want to kind of mention, so we actually have two tiers for this fund. So the Food Equity Fund, the tier 1 is for a shorter term project. It's more of a 3 months to 12 months project. And it's for anybody to request project that can go up to $75,000. That currently is closed. We probably will have that open it up again later this year. So right now the funding is open is for tier 2. You are correct. It is kind of aiming for agency that has a little bit more capacity because then it is for project that's from 15 months to 24 months long. And then it's for project that's from 80,000 to 150,000. So yeah, unfortunately, the only way we can do it is kind of 10% up to the startup fund. But then hopefully that 10%, if they're requesting at $80,000 or 150,000, hopefully that's a good amount where they can start, help a little bit at the beginning, but then everything still go back to reimbursement process. But I really appreciate all those stuff, and then we'll continue pushing, We'll share this with our, management and going up.
we appreciate the feedback.
We'll
And,
have some more leaders next week, because this week, it's a little bit difficult because we have a lot of them get involved with family loss. It was a big, huge one. 4 people died in one family.
Oh, wow.
So it is just, but otherwise I have a lot of people were hoping that they could participate on today's program, but we'll do one more next week, so that I could try to gather, all the people, the community leaders like City Collector, they can ask question and clarify, and get the answer, directly from you guys. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much, Lisa and Seth. I think you covered all the areas. And then if you have anything to share, and then we can finish up our food equity fund information now. But if you have any time, always watch the program. Voice of South Pacific with Food Equity Fund, it will be there today, and it's also on the YouTube.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Zach, for taking your time. Thank you for great information. And Lisa?
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and enjoy the nice summer breeze. It's slowly coming, yeah?
Yes.
You too. Happy spring.
It's so good to see you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you again for having us.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much again for you both.
Yeah.
Food Equity Fund. Ko ngai whainga marin ke tau ngawe aki ko mahi polokala mai e pure anga o mai ke toko ni ko tau kainga. Mo ngawe aki ngai whainga mari ko ni. O koe ke whainga ta ai hangi ko tau whakau ke pehe mo pehe. E koe ke whaha me ai ko pehe tau hanga o ai me hala. Koe hangi ko na whakau ko no tau mua. Ke tuko te whainga mari ko ni ke mo ngawe aki. Ka koe me a pe ko tu whaki pe ki i. Me a koe no whaikai ngawe tō taha e wike. Kai whai pe o tu whaki ke ka kai kone se ata pe waha tau kau tō ngai, pe waha tau kau Islanders mai mea tu whaki pe ai po haki perete tōru noa he tō taha e wike. O whaingo fua ka toa pe kai oa e loto si he lava po toa pe. Okay, we'll have this song here. Thank you again, Lisa, and thank you, Seth. Have a great weekend. Thank you. Now we're gonna go to the third part. Welcome, City Kalepo. That's our project manager for the King County and also the Pacific Islanders. Talofa, Silly, thank you for joining with us and thank you for helping our broadcast to spread the word. It's not just the health, it's also the grant and opportunity. Now, we're coming over to update all the information from the King County about what's happening in our King County today. Is we have a lot of the things that are lifted, like those restrictions. So, please, Silly, can you update us, what is happening right now with the King County in reference
for sure.
to COVID-19?
Before I jump in there, I just want to answer a quick question that was on Facebook Live from Hoku Lani. So purchasing only food items to show the receipts or other projects applies. So I just want to make clear to her that this whole system of reimbursable grants is a very broken, westernized system that just says that you have to have the money. So you have to go buy your community the stuff. And then after you spent, I don't know, let's say $10,000, then you can submit your $10,000 of receipts to this case, City of Seattle. Then City of Seattle, after, I don't know, 30 days per your contract, they'll cut you a check back for the amount of money you spent. But it sounds like Zach and Lisa are having some RFPs, which stands for request for proposal application seminars that they will be putting on. So I would say, yeah, take advantage of those. It's super helpful, but some of these community grant funds are limited, to say the least. And this is coming from a government employee. But all right, on to communications updates. So I am going to share my screen. Screen 2. Yeah, not a whole bunch to really touch upon, but the one big thing is that the mask required posters are available online in various languages. So if there are businesses or churches or community groups from the Pacific Islands who are listening to this community in King County, there are just resources available for you on kingcounty.gov/masks. They also have the masks are optional signs up that you can print out that are available in some of those languages. And again, there's just some infographic messaging available in those languages to kind of share with your community as we're slowly entering into this new normal of trying to go back to normal, whatever that means, from our school perspectives, business perspectives, and government perspective. So just remember, there are those government entities where you have to wear masks, non-negotiables, and they are revisiting it, I believe in the middle of April. For our end, it would be Governor Inslee and then Dr. Duchant and Dow Constantine within King County. But just those resources are available for folks on the call. Also, Care Connection Washington flyers are now available as well. So as we've mentioned a few times on our Communication Thursday update meetings, Care Coordination in King County no longer has the funding to continue that work. However, Department of Health, State of Washington has now taken on this responsibility, and attached are the websites and the different criterias that you have to achieve in order to get some of their resources. And some of the resources are like groceries for folks who have been contacted by COVID or has someone in their family that has COVID, and other types of assistance. And I'll also drop a bunch of these in the Facebook live chat as well. The next slide is, free testing is still available. So this hyperlink is just the state of Washington's program that folks on the call and in your communities can obtain at-home testing kits. You can order up to 2 times a month for the state of Washington. But the federal government is a little bit different. I think you can, at this point, order 2 sets of tests through covidtests.gov. So those were the end of my communications updates relative to COVID and some of the guidance and guidelines. But also I want to share is next week I am joining some Pacific Islander community leaders on a question and answer session for Pacific Islander communities. And we have a mental health specialist named Scarlett Ekroma. She is a Pacific Islander who will be talking about, that taboo issue that we have within our Islander community about mental health issues. We have Pastor Ofalangi from Auburn City Church Seventh-day Adventist also joining us on the call to, talk about Jesus and COVID, whatever that means. Any question works. And then we also have a Dr. Malik Fumayono, the chief hospitalist at Skagit Valley Hospital. So they will be joining us on the call next Thursday, actually at 6 p.m. So feel free to join, or you can send your questions to my colleague, Veronica Liu, at veronica.liu@kingcounty.gov. And again, as I mentioned, I'll drop a bunch of these things in the chat on Facebook Live. So that is the end of my presentation, but there's also one more event I want to share is a community vaccination event happening on Friday, April 8th from 1:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's at the Wayside United Church of Christ off of 2000 Southwest Dash Point. So there will be, your entire vaccine series, your second dose, your booster dose, 5 and 11-year-olds can come get vaccinated. I will also be there just passing out PPEs and answering any general questions folks have about anything related to COVID. So that is my update. So I don't know if you had any questions from the community, Auntie Sylvia, but back to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Silly. Silly Kalepo is the project manager, like for the King County, especially with the Pacific Islanders. So he's also getting and setting up an opportunity for March 31st. I got maasa atol taha metay no ke fitu. March 31st between 6 and 7. They'll have a different speaker hange ko ko faifekau o falangi o ku kame fokiai pa mo toketa imo tau matakari. Koyai o ku fe mao ke mao mo whainga maari ka tau whanongo ke tau kau vahe ko ini mo kau whare ko ini. Yeah, I have a quick question here. For the event on March 31st, are the people just able to join in on a Zoom link, or they can just watch the virtual?
You would have to join in on the Zoom link. So it's a sponsored King County event. So county will record it. And it's actually going to be a webinar. So
Okay.
same
All right.
principles and ideas as Zoom, but we have more of the internal controls.
Thank you so much, Silly. And we're looking forward, for next week's program. And then that is the 31st, it's another week from today. So next Thursday, it's March 31st between 6 and 7. We'll join live, like with this program here. So that way we can participate and hear all the great information that will be shared, by the specialized, folks, spiritual doctors, of all the different areas, that we can get some good information. Thank you so much, Silly, and I'm glad that you update all the latest information, from the King County abroad. And I think we'll be looking forward, for our next week program. Thank you so much.
Yeah, sounds good. And as I mentioned, we were very intentional about getting Pacific Islander experts in these fields to kind of, talk story with the community relative to any questions they have. And there's no such thing as a bad question.
Yes. Okay. All right. Yeah. And I will also maybe help out, with the interpretations, like if it's needed. Thank you so much, Silly. Yeah. Tofa Seifua, thank you for all your great work for the community. Koe tawa o mengi whaasinga koe ta polokalama ako kolenga makaneta ke katak matuku atu ai apo koe ni mo tai ni ka pongpongi me ki family pa mo fo hiva na fa o etapo mausia koe dedicate koe o atu ya ma ai ki family koe ni o hoko ai apsia fo i toko wha koe ni ai a ko lute pe mo Naomi koe ongo wha e koe ongo toko ua koe lahi a lute si a Naomi ia lewa e koe ki tahine ko a lute ko atimata whekitoa koe ki tamsi ko ia a Naomi ko Keola James Cook pea ko ia e whahoko lewa nau apo me mea whakaiki i e whalelotu ko ia o siasa sisu klaisi ka manene ngai aki muini aia koe tua sila koe taha whanoa woua Auburn Boulevard I'm sorry. Tā whānau woua Embalm. Oku ilo ia he tōlahi koe Stake Center ia. Ai whalerotu ko ia Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints. Tu he Embalm. Ko to asila ko ta whānoa woa and Palm Boulevard. Pea o ku kamata pe ai apo i he taimi fitu e whiawha pongpongi o lele ai ke taimi taha wā toa ke taha wā tu apo pea Oscar pe toi foki mai pe o malangai ai mea whakaiki i he pongpong tokonaki pea toki te waki ai pe ahono whakaha ele i atu ki whaitoka ko ia Pony Watson. Ka ko ia koe ni tukai pe to asila pa mo hiwa koe wha o singa e ta programa. Whamalot ka ki motoko tape mo mea mai ki tau programa ni with Voice of South Pacific malo o pito ho mo mea mai ko whini moto a koe ni o whahoa a ka o sirivia Fatima aho pe ki he ensinia ne ta tua ta pe lava ka pau lewa te mo whesio pe ai ma ono whai ki kina mau kamata ake e tokoni ki koutou reka reka Providence Elderplace programa hono ua programa tokoni a me Food Equity Fund o ko kamata be me panga valmano ke taki lutupu ka te mo lava pe mai whakaiki pe te nau tokoni atu ki hono whafon ho application o whafon kata pe online ko program wha o sieni ko ngai update pe me King County na watia e siri kalepo ma lo pe to mo mea mai ka mo mea mai pe ko nu atu e hiva wha o sko ia ka mo ngai ata ko ia o si ka pe kia ko nu tuka te tai mini ko e whaue ni a tapu mausia.
Koele
ke tatau novo Ko mau kele kele aki e kolo e malata Taulanga mata I tofe o mau o whatu Whakamole mole na aku o te whie mata moa Maasi ua ko lawe I e halane nau foa Oi mono foa, mono foa Taulanga he lotu o mau o whatu Taulanga he Ooh.